You have lots on the way back?
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
All right, we'll continue on with the agenda. We're ready for policy first read, and it's policy 43.2, the use of timeout rooms and physical restraint.
Right, so the policy committee reviewed and revised this policy. Timeout rooms and and the use of physical restraints are rare occasions within our schools. And yet, at times, are needed. They're part of a student's plan, usually when needed. And so this policy articulates when it's appropriate, and then how we should progress with it. So the change, and we've always had this policy, this policy already exists, it's already been approved. The changes really were to we were following the NISBA recommendations, and I believe the changes in here, I'm not looking at precisely the changes, I believe that they were the documentation piece. Is that right, Patty?
Yeah, the documentation piece, and then up in the first part, just this whole big long thing that was taken out and then a new thing put in, but the only thing that changed was one word.
Yeah,
and
one word.
It was in substituted for. And I don't really understand why the whole thing got for one word changed, but that's how they presented it to us. So.
Right.
Luckily, I have awesome people on the policy team who explained the difference, which I appreciated very much because it looked exactly the same to me. But it was seemed funny that they did that.
But it's always good to know that we do have designated timeout rooms, one in the elementary school, one in the middle high school. And we do have a documentation procedure in which anytime there's use of either, there's a form that we complete and maintain records. So we are, even the changes that are being proposed here are changes in the policy, but the practices are already in place. And that's it.
Any questions? Then we'll move on to superintendent's report.
Okay. So the big news this past week was the repeat state title for our Nordic ski team. Those were some of the big news this past week. So this was last Monday and Tuesday. Our boys and girls Nordic and Alpine skiers, both our ski teams, boys and girls, competed at the state meet. And our boys Nordic team earned their 4th straight team state championship. And that's, somebody said, I guess that makes us a dynasty. And perhaps that's the case with 4 in a row. And I think that this year, unlike maybe some of the previous years, it wasn't necessarily expected. So it was very exciting for the team. Really congratulations to all of our skiers who competed at the state meets this year. Alpine skiers Gunnar Anthony, Parker Anthony, Tim Kelleher, and Barrett Smith. Nordic skiers Sarah Rose McCandlish, Annie Rose McCandlish, Lily Flanagan, that's the girls' team, and then the boys' champs were Kai Franz, Michael Scott, and Scotty Schultz. And then they're coached by Bill Frazier. Our senior Scotty Schultz earned his 3rd straight individual combined state title. So congratulations to all of our skiers. And you should also know that we have scheduled for tomorrow night the Winter Sports Awards. So that would be an opportunity to celebrate all of our winter athletes. In terms of upcoming events and activities in athletics, the spring sports season just began on Monday. That's JV and varsity, and next Monday is the start of the modified season. So it's always interesting how to practice spring sports as they begin in March, which, as you know, here in Lake Placid is the height of winter. Sometimes it feels that way for facilities. The track is covered with snow. and the fields are covered with snow. So the gym and the OTC get a big workout. We're really fortunate to be able to take advantage of some of those other venues in town. And thanks to our partners in the community for that. Thursday of this week, so that's the athletics piece. Thursday of this week, there's going to be a meeting of the Health and Safety for Building and Grounds Committee. Some of the people in this room are on that committee. I believe we have an agenda out. Isn't that right? Yeah. Leonard's the chair of that committee. So we have that to look forward to in a couple of nights. Also, Thursday is college application night. I'm celebrating my superintendent report with this story of. So Thursday is college application night. High school counselor Connie Hammaker will be providing parents and students with information on the college planning process. It's good timing for juniors, but any grade student or parents of those students are welcome. That meeting's at 6:30 in the middle high school library Thursday night. And then we move into next week. Next week, the middle school chorus and band. So we have some music events next week. Middle school chorus and band will be traveling to Albany. That's on Wednesday the 14th. So they leave first thing in the morning. They go to the State Museum. Then they perform at the state capitol. Last year, I believe, we were visited by some of our state legislators.
And
we had some people right in this room who were chaperoning that event. Yes. And then they enjoy lunch out and return here sometime about 5 o'clock. So that's a long day of music for our middle school musicians. Also on Wednesday, there'll be a woodwind quintet. That's an assembly at the elementary school during the day, along with a lunch and learn by that woodwind quintet. And then the week ends, as you've just had a preview of, with 3 performances of The Boyfriend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night at 7 p.m. So it's a big week for music. Friday of next week is a superintendent's conference day, so the final superintendent's conference day of the year. This the day, so students do not have school, but faculty and staff will be participating in an all-day presentation. So this presentation is centered around our guest speaker. His name is Dave Melnick, and his presentation is on the impact of traumatic stress on children and strategies that we, as teachers and support people for students, that we can develop to respond to the increasing needs of our children. The interventions and strategies discussed in this training are compatible with and they build upon a number of current initiatives that we're already working towards and some have in place. And that's part of building a positive school climate and a positive school culture. So these are not separate. They're all part of the same picture. Really trying to address the needs of our kids and to do so in a way that's understanding, empathetic, but also builds towards a positive school community.
What day is that?
That is Friday the 16th. Okay. And that will be, if anyone would like to join, you're always welcome to join us. We'll be inviting parents to attend that too if they would like. And we're using conference center. So, and that again, thanks to our friends at the Olympic Center for that. Finally, our 8th grade field trip to Washington, D.C. is actually coming up very shortly. So the field trip is on Sunday, March 18th, and returns on Wednesday, March 21st. And in writing this superintendent's report, it occurred to me that there's a board meeting on the 20th. And so your superintendent will be his second year chaperoning this trip. So we have to talk about that.
Did that happen last year?
It did happen last year, yes. Finally, I wanted to just tell you one thing. I actually meant to share it with you by an email. I send you emails on occasion, not terribly often, but usually they're with worrisome news or heads-up types of emails. And I wanted to share with you something a little different nature that I saw on Friday. And then, of course, the world surrounded me and took over, so I didn't get a chance to do it, so I'm doing it here. On Friday, as in most days, I watch the children depart from the buses at the elementary school. And I stand out there with Mrs. Franklin, the principal, or sometimes another teacher. We greet the kids when they come off the bus. And one of the buses pulled up, and the kids all left the bus, except there was one child still on the bus. This was one of those days when Mrs. Franklin brought her dog. She has a dog. Dog's name is Reese. And on about a weekly basis, Reese is a guest at the school. Reese is a certified therapy dog. And so, and has been working with our kids, spending time with our kids at the school for a couple of years now, about once a week. So when the bus driver motioned to Mrs. Franklin that there was still a child on the bus, she brought Reese on the bus. And turned out there was a child back there. It's not terribly unusual for us to have a child who's slow getting off the bus. We actually will have some kids sometimes who fall asleep on the bus. They're long rides, and so that's usually what it is. But when the child came off the bus, and I asked Mrs. Franklin about it, she said, no, he wasn't asleep. He didn't want to come to school. And I know enough of the situation to know that this was a boy who has been struggling for a while with, significant family issues that none of us would want for ourselves or for our children. And this 8-year-old boy had been struggling with this and had really determined that he was not going to come to school. But somehow Reese convinced him otherwise. And so he was able to come off the bus with the dog and then spent about 5 minutes throwing a tennis ball and having Reese get the tennis ball very happily. And I started to smile, and then when the day started, he very cheerfully went into school and started to stay. And that was the end of that. And it's maybe because I know the context of the child and his story that this just struck me as being one of those things that happens. I would say positive things like that happen on a regular basis, and we don't usually talk about them. We usually highlight the negative things that happen. But very, very often we have these moments in school where we're dealing with kids who've grown up in some traumatic circumstances, and we've put things in place that are just really a matter of course, like Reese that shows up on occasion. But it's also other things, just people who are in place and relationships that we have already established. And it makes, it turns the tide for a kid on one particular day or one particular moment. And that just struck me, especially as we are sort of really surrounded right now by worries and fears in schools. To see that light shine on that moment really struck me, and I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you for doing that.
And that's everything. That's the end of my superintendent report.
Thank you. So we move on to information for the board, and there's a couple of things. One is the academic awards banquet invitation, and Karen printed it out for us, so please return those to her as soon as you can. And then there is a legislator's letter that was sent by Steve Schaefer with a request that we consider sending this to our representatives. I asked Karen to put this on here and see if that's something that we wanted to do. Yes, send it.
Yeah, I don't know about the first line. I mean, I don't know if you just want to say it's from the speak on behalf of the school board.
Yeah, right.
Because later on it talks about, that we're making budget decisions all for the children. It's about the students, but I don't know that we're doing it on behalf of the students. The students haven't asked us to do this.
Right, yeah.
I think we're doing it to benefit them, which is in later.
Yeah.
So if we could change that,
Yeah,
it
I
just
just
makes more
I was
sense.
just thinking it needed to be personalized a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did hear some good news from the state today. I was in Albany the last 3 days, and the comptroller announced this morning that the projection is additional revenue through state taxes, state income taxes, between $675 million and $750 million. That's above and beyond what was projected by the governor. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that those monies will be allocated to public education, but that's a good direction to be headed. So we'll see how that turns out.
Roads and then we'll save on buses.
All right, making bills with agenda items.
We'll certainly send you a letter after these first appointments.
Okay.
I think musical is education.
Say that education.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Then we move into discussion, the discussion item, the board member. We have, as you can see, 2 people responded with letters of interest and resumes. Colin Locke and Martha Spear. So the goal tonight is to decide on one. Both have said that even if they're not chosen, that they do intend to run in the spring. In fact, I think one has already collected signatures.
Yeah, and do they know the time frame? It
Yes.
needs to be in by April, right?
Yes, I know that.
Great.
I sent all 4 an email outlining this procedure and then another paragraph that outlined and said, regardless of whether they're picked or not, both that they would consider running in the spring and that here's the outline. Here's how to do that. So let's open it up to discussion.
Could I make one comment about the running of the school board? That it's possible whoever's appointed would end up having more votes than the other person or somebody else who might be running. And they would technically be off the board for a short period of time as a voting member.
I told them that. That was, possibility was that they might, if they came in third, they would come back, they would stay on the board. If not, they would go up and whoever came in third.
Right, and have a one-year term.
Right.
I think the interest is great. I would think that if there's a difference with who submitted first,
The qualifications, like, both of them are very good, so, I mean,
I guess the difference to me is, Colleen has been involved with school committee. She's been serving on the shared decision-making committee.
right.
She has a history of serving on the school committee, so, that to me is significant. I think Collins did come in first, although I don't.
it did. I mean, the latter did anyway. I
Right,
don't
the
know
latter
whether the
did,
interest
rather,
did,
yeah.
but it just, that was the only thing I could think of as far as it goes. And the fact that they're both planning on running, because I would, I think if there's somebody, as long as they're both running, because if they were to come on for a short period of time and then not run,
continue, right.
and then changing would make it more difficult if there was someone with a more committed, but if they're both running, I would think that it's terrific.
So pick one.
They should have left their petitions so we could sign them.
So,
I'm for Colleen, I mean, just because of the previous service, but, like I said, I think they're both, the qualifications look good to me. I don't know how anybody else feels.
seems like there's,
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
I think that's right, and then if we do the same as we did with after the election, even if the one person doesn't take that oath yet, but then they come to the meetings and we can start that, so there's some crossover before the reorganization meeting, I think that's nice.
Right. And we'll have, we'll invite, it's Colleen, I'll invite Colleen in and meet with you, Leonard, and Roger and Karen, to just get brought up to speed with the budget.
Sure.
And the board docs and, the whole, where we are now. So, am I right that we're all leaning towards Colleen?
Yeah, I'm good.
So then we'll move that on his.
And we should probably send a letter to Mark,
Oh, yeah.
saying, thank you, this is what our,
I'll call,
Yeah.
I'll call her.
how are we gonna do that? Okay, cool.
No, no, so there'll be seats open. I mean, I don't know if there are other people that are running that didn't put in for this, but.
No.
No petitions in collected.
No.
Usually doesn't take, so they usually come until the end anyway.
Well, and also the upcoming meetings, as long as there are, someone's going on the trip to this 3 meetings. And we have 4 before the election, that would be good to know, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Say that again.
The upcoming meetings, just the dates of the upcoming meetings, like the work sessions
Right.
and the meetings,
Right.
because if someone has if out of the 2, one of them has a prior commitment and they're gonna be missing a few of the meetings,
Right.
then that would be another thing that would make a difference, because if someone's joining, it would be the consistency of the next few meetings you're doing.
So I didn't get that from any of them.
So,
So, we'll move on then to the action items, or the minutes, and the spring coaches, and the board nomination were all approved, and the consent agenda. So we have, under personnel, we have the board member appointment. So is there a motion to appoint Colleen Locke as member board member effective March 7th, 2018 through March 15th, 2018?
Yes.
Is there a second?
yes.
And so further discussion? Thank you. Not then, let's please vote. And the motion carries 5-4-0 against. 5-4-0 against with 2 yes. Next item is the calendar approval, 2018-19. The proposed resolution reads, be it resolved, Board of Education adopts the school calendar for school year 2018-19 as presented by the superintendent of schools, with the understanding that said calendar is subject to change due to unforeseen circumstances as attached hereto and incorporated by reference. Is there a motion to approve next year's calendar?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there discussion? Questions? Not, let's please vote. Motion carries 5-4-0 against. I can go back up to this, go to special education, we've already approved it, but are there any questions in the packet that we're acting on next week? Okay. And then we move to the proposed executive session. Is there a motion to enter executive session for the purpose of discussing the superintendent's evaluation and the salaries of administration and confidential management employees?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Thank you, Joe. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Yes. You putting it up, Karen's putting it up. Motion carries 5-4 against. It is short, Leonard.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I have to stop it. It's a new gig.
You want me to take this? I'm not sure.